Okay, so if you've been anywhere near the internet lately, you've probably heard something about K-pop idols fighting demons. But, the story that's been making the rounds is, well, it's a little tangled. So today, we're going to unravel this thing and get to the real story behind what might be the biggest animated sensation of the year. So, what's the deal, right? Is there a live-action movie? Is it an animated musical? And why is everyone online talking about the guy from Train to Busan punching demons? These are all totally valid questions because, honestly, the internet has kind of smushed two completely different things together into one very confusing but also very cool-sounding idea. All right, let's clear this all up right now. So on one side, you've got K-pop Demon Hunters. That's the animated musical on Netflix about a K-pop girl group who are secretly demon hunters. That's what we're really digging into today. And then on the other side, you've got Holy Night Demon Hunters. This is a totally separate live-action Korean horror movie about an exorcist who, punches demons really, really hard. So two movies, similar names, and a whole lot of confusion. And this comment right here just perfectly shows you the mix-up. People saw the trailer for the live-action Holy Night and immediately recognized the absolute legend, Ma Dong-seok. I mean, this is the guy famous for punching his way through a zombie apocalypse in Train to Busan. So of course, the idea of him leveling up to punch demons got everybody hyped. And here's one more comment, comparing Holy Night to that awesome Filipino animated series Trace. This just goes to show that a lot of that early demon hunter buzz online was actually for this super gritty live-action horror movie. So now that we've solved that mystery, let's focus on the other demon hunting movie, the one that actually broke the internet. Now that we've got all that straightened out, it is time to properly meet the record-shattering animated sensation that you absolutely need to know about, K-pop Demon Hunters. Okay, so the whole idea is pretty simple, but it's just so good. You've got these K-pop superstars, Rumi, Mira, and Zoe. To the rest of the world, they're the chart-topping girl group Hunter/X. But what nobody knows is that they're secretly using their powers as demon hunters to protect their huge fan base from all kinds of supernatural dangers. Think pop stardom meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's awesome. And at the heart of it all is this classic showdown. On one side, you have our heroes, Hunter X. Their whole mission is to protect their fans and keep this magical barrier strong. But on the other side, you've got the villains, the Saja Boys, a rival K-pop boy band who are, and I mean this literally, demons in disguise. And their goal? To steal fan souls and unleash a demon king. It's basically a battle of the bands where the fate of the world is at stake. So we've got the story down, but that's not the full picture of why this movie became a global phenomenon. Let's get into the numbers. Because this film didn't just find an audience, it absolutely shattered records. Let's just start with the biggest number of all, 236 million. That is the total number of views on Netflix. We're not just talking about a popular cartoon here. We're talking about the single most watched movie in the entire history of the platform, period. And just to put that number into perspective for you, it means K-pop Demon Hunters officially knocked the global juggernaut Squid Game off the top spot as Netflix's most watched title of all time. Yeah, it beat a show that literally everyone on the planet was talking about for months. The scale of the success is it's massive. But this thing wasn't just a hit on streaming. Netflix did this special 2-day sing-along event in some theaters, and it pulled in an estimated $18 million. For a movie that you could watch at home basically for free with your subscription, to make that much money at the box office is almost unheard of. It just proves how passionate the fan base is. And then there's the music. Oh my gosh, the music became a whole phenomenon by itself. The soundtrack had 4 songs in the Billboard Hot 100 Top 10 at the same time. 3 of those were in the top 5. That's something no movie soundtrack has done since Saturday Night Fever, all the way back in 1978. And on top of all that, the main single, Golden, went straight to #1. Just incredible. This quote from Ray Amy, who's the amazing singing voice for the character Zoe, it just perfectly captures the feeling around this movie's release. It wasn't a slow build, it was just this complete explosion of success, where it seemed like every single day brought some new, unbelievable record. So this is the big question, right? How did this even happen? How did a movie that Sony originally sold off to a streaming service become the biggest hit in Netflix history? What was the secret formula here? Well, let's break down the hype. When you really look at it, it all comes down to 3 key things that just worked together perfectly. The music was universally catchy, the visual style was completely unique and cool, and the emotional themes just connected with a massive, massive audience. First up, the music. The songs are, like one character in the movie says, annoyingly catchy. And they're not wrong. Hits like Golden and Soda Pop just went completely viral. I mean, the cultural reach was so huge that tennis superstar Novak Djokovic actually did the Soda Pop victory dance after a win at the US Open. When your movie's choreography ends up in professional sports, you know you've made it big. Next, you've got the look of the film, which is just stunning. The creators were really inspired by Sony's own groundbreaking Spider-Verse movies. They mixed this 3D animation language with 2D style art to create this bold, graphic look. They called it a CG version of anime. It really doesn't look like anything else out there, and it just grabs your attention from the first frame. But the real secret weapon, the heart of the film, is its themes. Co-director Maggie Kang explained that the main character Rumi's journey, hiding her demon side, is a lot like a coming-out story. It's about that feeling of having to hide a part of yourself from the world. And that theme of self-acceptance just resonated so powerfully with people, making the film way more than just a fun action musical. So, after that kind of absolutely unheard-of success, the question isn't if we're going to see more, it's what is it going to look like? So, what's the future for this franchise? Well, it looks like the Demon Hunters universe is already getting bigger. A sequel is officially in the works, and the directors have said they want to dive into the backstories of the main characters. We're also getting a new, untitled short film that's going to play in theaters before Paddington in Peru. And if that's not enough, there are reports that Netflix is thinking about 2 more sequels and maybe even a live-action remake. This is not just a movie anymore, it's the start of a whole media empire. Which kind of brings us to our big final question here. K-pop Demon Hunters defied every single expectation. It went from being a movie sold to streaming to a record-breaking cultural moment with a huge dedicated fan base. It basically proved that a global phenomenon doesn't have to be born in theaters. It can start right in our living rooms. So the question now is, can it make that final leap and become the next great global franchise? Only time's gonna tell, but wow, it has already changed the game.